From Johannesburg, let's head over to the Cape Town International Airport. The first international flight will land shortly. Our reporter Monique Mortlock is there to receive them. Monique, tell us what's the latest from Cape Town International Airport.
We've actually just come from the tarmac where we witnessed a water salute, and that is an aviation tradition in which two fire trucks or fire engines spray water in an archway and welcomes an inaugural flight or a last flight today. In today's case, we saw that first international flight from Dubai heading in or taxiing down the runway, and it was such an amazing sight. It was beautiful to witness, and you could see even the staff members on the runway welcoming them, waving those South African flags. And even behind me, we've seen some of the passengers being warmly welcomed by our Klopse band playing that famous tune of Welcome to Cape Town. We've chatted to some of the passengers who are very eager to be back in South Africa, to be back in Cape Town. We spoke to one gentleman who said he was in Abu Dhabi working there for 9 months, and he was patiently and anxiously waiting to get home. And just to chat to us a bit about what the provincial government is feeling and their thoughts around what we heard from yesterday's international travel briefing. I'm chatting to our Transport MEC, Bonginkosi Madigizela. Sir, earlier we were speaking to Economic Opportunities MEC David Maynard, and he was telling us that provincial government are still hoping for more of an easing of those travel restrictions, especially when we're looking at countries like in the UK, Europe. Those are our big tourist hubs, or where we see the majority of tourists coming in the summer months. What are your thoughts on that?
Look, I mean, we've been watching what is happening in US and UK in particular with a very keen interest. And it is really worrying for us in South Africa to see the second wave there, because, as you know, I mean, those are our biggest, tourist countries. And we are really waiting with bated breath, as my colleague, Minister Maynard said, to monitor what is happening there. But of course, we are also in discussion because we believe that we must find innovative ways, to deal with this. Some of us, believe that if you can test people 14 days or 10 days before they can come to South Africa and make sure that it's safe for them to come, I think we must explore those avenues, because it is true that tourism is one of those hardest hit sectors, and we've got to make sure that those countries that are contributing massively, in our tourism, especially in the Western Cape, we really find a way to make sure that people are able to come. But Monique, we must also be careful because we don't want to see the next spike now. I mean, we've got to be very careful, and that is why we've got to make absolutely sure that the health protocols that we must abide by, we don't deviate from that.
And MEC, what type of assurance can you give to travellers coming into South Africa or coming into Cape Town in the Western Cape that we have the necessary safety measures in place? We saw what happened when the cross-provincial travelling was allowed. There were some issues in terms of who's coming into the province, who's leaving the province, those infection rates. What type of assurance can you give to travellers coming into the province?
Monique, you'll remember that there was an outcry when we decided to load 100% capacity in taxis. But since then, you can agree with me that hasn't contributed to the spike, because of the very strong partnership that we have with the transport industry, not only the minibus taxi industry, where we support the transport industry by making sure that we provide the PPE that's necessary. People must continue wearing masks, they must continue sanitizing their hands or washing their hands, and that is what we'll be preaching throughout. Because we have picked up that in some areas, people suddenly think that because we're on level 1, the virus is gone. So we've got to make sure that we keep to those health guidelines until the virus is found. There are very promising developments, and therefore that is the message that we are going to preach to people, to say, since we took some decisions to relax, the regulations, we have managed to really to suppress the virus.
Thank you very much for your time. That was the Transport MEC and the Western Cape, Bongi Kosi Madibizela, and we'll be waiting for that next flight that is soon to land, where we can hopefully speak to some of those passengers.
All right, thank you very much. Monique Mortlock coming to us from Cape Town.